Clover.
I am your host, Naka Talili, and I welcome you to the winner of the 5,000 subscriber special. Let's play Okami. Now, for the most part, some of the loading screens can get a little on the lengthy side. I'm going to cut them out for the most part. Say also that this will be a 1-hour special to get this game started. This should get us past all the opening cinematics, tutorials, and all that fun stuff. The game starts out with a pretty lengthy backstory, giving the history of Amaterasu and Orochi, the 8-headed serpent, and how Orochi was terrorizing the small town of Kamiki. This will go on for a little while here, so I'll be talking over it and I'll explain a couple other things as we go. The first thing I'll say is this game, it takes place, I guess you could call it feudal Japan. It takes place in mythological Japan. As such, Japanese mythology as a whole is exceedingly prevalent in this game. There's so many references to so many different old stories and fables, and I'm going to do my best to point out every one of them as we go. I will not succeed in this. So, I guess the ongoing viewer participation in this one is if you can find a reference to something in Japanese mythology that I don't mention, tell me about it. I'll make I have a thread for this game on the forum. If you don't say it in the comments, you can PM it to me. You can post in the forum. There's also something else I'm going to be doing as this game goes on, specifically for the forum, which I'll get to when I get to it. Now, to begin with, I'll say I do know the entire story of Amaterasu, Susanoo, and Orochi. However, I will not be telling that entire story right up front. I'll get to that when I get to that. Since probably the whole first large section at the beginning of the game is based around that particular mythology, I'll be revealing some of that mythology as the storyline in the game goes on. I guess one thing I can say right now, though, is that in this game, you play as Amaterasu. Technically, her full name is Amaterasu Okami. This is referenced not only to the title of the game, but to a couple of things. The title of the game is just called Okami. Now, this is Japanese. Okami is Japanese for wolf, I do believe. Now, using the same pronunciation, but different kanji, instead of reading wolf, Okami can read great deity, I think it is. Fitting, considering you play the game as a goddess. I know there's a little bit of ambiguity in the game about what the main character's gender is, considering, but she's frequently referred to as a female, as a goddess. And the mythology behind it especially tells you that the main character is female. Now, that aside, you do play as a goddess in wolf form. Now, that being said, the original goddess's name was not Amaterasu Okami. It was Amaterasu Omikami. So not only is Omikami very similar to Okami, but Omikami is a different reading of the same kanji used for Okami. So we have 3 ties in to the same name of the same game. As I mentioned, you play as a goddess. Specifically, the sun goddess. In Japanese mythology, the sun goddess is an exceedingly important goddess. The mother of all creation, I believe the game refers to her as a couple times. Now, let's see here. There was something else I was going to say. It escapes me at the moment, though. Well, there is one story, which I'll mention, which is Amaterasu's association with the mirror. Which early on, or I shouldn't say early on, but one of the various stories involving Amaterasu is that, as a goddess, is that at one point she was gravely insulted by another god, whose name I will not mention right now. And as such, she fell into a great depression and actually walled herself off inside of a cave, where her sunlight could not reach, and the world fell into darkness for a great period. From there, though, it was all the other gods decided to try to get Amaterasu out of the cave so they could get sunlight back in the world. And everybody tried, and nobody could succeed in getting her to come back out. It was eventually one, I think it was a goddess, or a god, I don't know. I don't remember exactly. But, who decided to set up a mirror so that it was facing the inside of the cave. So as soon as you came out of the cave, you would see this mirror. From there, the goddess, let's call her a goddess because I don't remember which, the goddess took a, I think it was a bath basin type thing, stood on it wearing nothing but leaves and such, and started dancing on this tub, drumming on it with her feet. Now, all the other gods started to laugh and have a good time seeing this great display, and eventually the goddess just took the leaves off and was dancing naked. And everybody's laughing and having a great time, and Amaterasu in the cave was hearing this great commotion right outside the cave, and out of curiosity, stuck her head out. She then saw the mirror, saw this beautiful image of a great goddess, though it was actually herself, and came far enough out of the cave for one of the other gods to grab her, yank her out, and then they dropped a boulder or something, I don't remember, in front of the cave. But that is Amaterasu's association with the mirror, which you'll see your predominant weapon in this game is the mirror. Now, for those of you who have been paying attention to me and not to the storyline in the text here, shame on you. This is an exceedingly important storyline it's the basis for the rest of the game. Well, not the entire rest of the game. The first good portion of the game. It's 100 years ago that Orochi used to abduct maidens from a village. One maiden, who a great hero was in love with, was decided to be the next sacrifice. So instead, this hero decided to go and slay the great demon, or slay Orochi. However, in fighting Orochi, he was kinda getting his sorry butt kicked. Now, this whole time, there had been a white wolf wandering around town, who everyone in the village thought was kind of an underling of Orochi, so they really didn't like this wolf. The wolf, Shiranui being actually Japanese for just white wolf or white dog or something like that. But, just in this one fight when this guy was getting his butt kicked, the white wolf, Shiranui, showed up, saved him. Together, they took down Orochi. But that was all the wolf had in him, or in her. And at that, peace returned to Kamiki village, and the wolf passed away. Now, another thing to mention is when Orochi was killed, the hero of the day found a sword in it. This name of the sword escapes me, I really should know. But this sword then, he took and claimed to be this great powerful sword, and it was, and whatnot. But now that's enshrined as Nagi's sword was, there we are, Nagi's sword was christened Tsukuyomi, and placed inside the Moon Cave. The Moon Cave, a distance away from the town, but that's the town then where Orochi lived. And with that, there was peace for 100 years.